pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. And I know for the record that all board members are present. Good morning.
Morning.
And our first item of business, I move the approval of the minutes of the October 8th, 2025 board meeting. Second by Ms. Sticken. Any unreadiness? All in favor, aye. Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I was absent last meeting. I abstained.
Okay, we'll note for the record that Mr. McCafferty has abstained due to his absence at that meeting. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. On to item number 2. I acknowledge the following resignations from and appointments to elected office. The resignations: Carrie McCormick, Cleveland City Council, Member of Council Ward 3; Bridget King, Fairview Park City Council, Member of Council Ward 5; Erica Nikolic, Oakwood Village Council, Member of Council at Large; and Eloise Hardin, Oakwood Village Council, Member of Council Ward 2. And the following appointments: Lauren R. Welch, Cleveland City Council, Member of Council Ward 3; Bridget King, Fairview Park City Council, President of Council; Erica Nikolic, Village of Oakwood Mayor; Eloise Hardin, Oakwood Village Council, Member of Council at Large; and Yvonne Evans Warren, Oakwood Village Council, Member of Council Ward 2.
Second.
Second by Mr. McCafferty. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. And we acknowledge the following resignation. Oh, I'm sorry, a candidate withdrawal from the November 4th, 2025 general election. And the candidate that has withdrawn is David Innerman, Moreland Hills Village Council, Member of Council.
Second.
Second by Mr. McCafferty. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. And on to fiscal services. Mr. Prelati, anything that you want to say about the resolutions?
I'll hit on. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm just going to hit on all three of them at once real quick. Resolution A, law enforcement. Those are for van drivers transporting materials back and forth from drop-off locations to our office, a practice that we've done for years, so nothing new. Just go out to bid for that. Letter B is Midfits Incorporated, doing business as Berman Moving and Storage. That is the vendor. We actually went out to bid because the contract had expired, and that's for moving all equipment from our location to pole locations. And this will be the first contract with the new setup that we have, with having all of our voting booths and cages now housed on floor 5 of the Hallie warehouse. There's not a need any longer for the moving vendor to store that equipment, those voting booths, 365 days a year. So we're happy about that. So we did go out to bid, and Berman's actually was the only vendor to submit. We extended the contract, or the bid period, and again, they still were the only one. So Berman's has done a good job, and actually we, September and November, have worked with them on the new way of doing business as far as having things leave out of Hallie warehouse, and that's worked well. So staff have no hesitation with Berman's ability to do the job. And then paragraph C is just 10X, one of the products that we utilize for them. And this is for the 10X University, which is the online poll worker training portal in which we upload our PowerPoints, videos, and all other items that then poll workers can log in and take our training. So that system is working well, and we want to extend that contract.
Okay, thank you, Director. Any questions for the Director? Okay, I move to approve the resolutions under item 4, A through C, all inclusive.
Second.
Second by
Either one.
Ms. Stewart. Okay, all right. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. And on to agenda item 5, poll workers. I move the approval to appoint not less than 2 precinct election officials for each precinct pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 3501.22 for the January 6, 2026 Oakwood Village special mayoral election.
Second.
Second by Mr. McCafferty. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. And on to new business. Director, Deputy Director, whichever one of you want to have the floor.
Chairman, I will go ahead and go first, and I'm going to speak to the petition signature authentication policy, this draft. What we're asking for today is for discussion on the policy and not asking for approval of the policy at this time, but be able to share what we've come up with the board members and see if any edits would be necessary, and then come back at a future meeting for approval. So just a little bit of background that we know over the past few years that this board has seen an increase in the number of candidates who request to address the board members at the board meeting where we certified candidates. And specifically, they come and they appear, those individuals who are short the minimum number of valid petition signatures for placement on the ballot. And to get even further specific, it's where a portion of the invalid signatures pertain to our staff determining that a voter signature, is non-genuine, meaning not matching what we have in our records. And so their goal is to engage with the board members and see if they can provide or persuade the board with testimony or documents to validate those signatures and resulting in them appearing on the ballot. Now, we know that here in Cuyahoga County, our 59 communities, we have some that are statutory and some that are chartered, and there's different rules that pertain to that. And so what that means is one of those rules is that some of their processes is their candidate filings are filed directly with us. There can be other times when a petition is not filed with us. It's filed with the clerk of council, and then it makes its way to us. So this policy that we have is dealing just with those that are directly filed with our staff here, where we engage in that signature verification on those processes. So when staff review petition signatures, first, when the petition comes in itself, if there's any registration cards that accompany that filing, our staff input those registration cards into the system so we have the most complete set of information in the system for our staff to engage in their review. Then they use the records that are on file with us here at the board. And in the voter registration system, an individual may have one or more registration cards in their record, depending on if they've updated or changed their voter registration, as well as some individuals may have a provisional envelope in their record also if they have voted provisional. And that provisional, as we know, has the authority of a registration card. So there's all these different documents that are in the system that staff will view when making a determination as to if something is valid or invalid. If a frontline operator determines a petition line is invalid for the reason code of non-genuine signature, when that petition goes through the logic and accuracy process, a second set of eyes looks at every non-genuine signature notification, and they either agree or disagree. If they disagree, then the documents are viewed again, discussions happen, and a final determination is made. If it stands as non-genuine, that means that multiple sets of eyes have determined that, in fact, that signature does not match what's on file with the Board of Elections. Now, the revised code and election official manual do not require the board members to hear challenges regarding non-genuine signature determinations of staff on candidate filings. However, it does not forbid the board from taking up that topic. However, I think case law has said that you need to have a uniformly applied and standardized protocol and process that's applied to this scenario. So what we've done here with this draft policy is tried to address this issue of individuals coming before us not having that standardized uniform policy and protocol and because we don't have that, we don't advertise what's available. So the goal is to come up with something that is adopted as a policy that we can share and publish and give to all candidates so they are aware of it. And the board sets what the process is for dealing with the situation when it arises. And so this policy was a collaboration of Assistant Prosecutor Musson, Manager Lawler, Assistant Manager Milne, Compliance Administrator James, Deputy Director Calgar, and myself, engaging in multiple conversations and with Assistant Prosecutor Musson doing some legal research to draft up this policy. And so the scope is to address, again, those candidate filings or petitions that are filed directly with us here at the Board of Elections, where we make those determinations. And it only addresses the non-genuine invalidation code, because that non-genuine signature can be subjective in nature, where the other codes are more objective in nature. And what we wanted to do was give the board members the opportunity to address these individuals, these voters who have signed a petition, to be able, under oath, to ask them questions, whatever those questions might be, before they make a determination. What happens now is we get documents that come in. Some meet the definition of affidavit. Maybe they're notarized. Others don't. They're not notarized. I don't think any of them have any kind of notation of signing. The standard, falsification is a 5th-degree felony when it comes to election things and those types of items. There's no official form. So it's trying to get some kind of uniformity in this process, the ability for the board members to ask questions of the candidates and the actual individuals who have allegedly signed the document, and also having them complete a Secretary of State Form 260, which is a signature update to their registration record. So this way we don't continue the loop of them signing things and not matching what we have in our records. So we can go ahead, if their signature has changed, in fact, then updating that through that form, which is a Secretary of State form. So that's a higher level or some level of overview of what the policy is, but basically moving from potentially just having someone on a piece of paper say who they are to having someone physically be present for the board to be able to actually ask questions of them. So with that, we do have Prosecutor Musson and everyone here in the room who worked on the policy to take questions.
Okay, thank you, Director. Board members, any questions for any of our staff? Yes, sir.
I do, Chairman. One question or problem I might have with requiring the completion of Form 260 is that a signature might be temporarily different. For instance, if there's a cast on a person's hand, then it's temporarily different. Would we require a completion of a Form 260 in that instance?
I think we have the discretion to do what we want. I think we can, on a case by case, if we were to see that someone was infirmed like in that manner, that maybe their signature doesn't change. But I would defer to Prosecutor Musson.
Mr. Musson? I read C to require it that we do that.
Correct. Yes, the way it's written now, we would require the elector to sign the form to update their signature. I think that is a legitimate concern that we didn't really consider, we did not consider when drafting it. And maybe if we loosen up that language to empower the board to say, okay, we'll accept your testimony provided you sign it, or if there's some legitimate excuse that might obscure their signature or alter it on a temporary basis, the board would have the discretion to waive that requirement or not enforce that requirement. So that would require a change in this policy, and we can do that at the direction of the board.
Okay, thank you.
Good question.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? All right. Again, thank you for this draft, and it's still a work in progress, and we'll come back at a later date and deal with it. Is that correct, Director?
Yes. So, for example, we will incorporate into paragraph 4C this suggested edit. We'll bring it back at another meeting. And if the board feels that the policy is ripe for approval at that point, they can go ahead and do that. If they think that there's other adjustments needed, we can go ahead and make those adjustments and come back at the following meeting. Only thing I would hope to have is in December is when we really probably will see a lot of activity of individuals coming down to take out petitions. And it'd be nice if we were able to have this finalized to hand out with them at that point. If not, it doesn't mean that it can't be in play for when you get to the filing deadline and after, but just giving a little bit of a timeline with that. So,
I think it makes sense to have it for that, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you, Ms. Stewart, for that editorial. And thank you, Director, Deputy Director, and staff for your work on this. And we will move forward. Okay, thank you. November 4th.
Okay,
general election.
good morning. I'm going to give you our November 4th election update, focusing on the three ways of voting. Vote by mail. Although vote by mail is down statewide in this election, and including in Cuyahoga County still leads the state with about 1/3 of all vote by mail ballots cast in the state coming from Cuyahoga County. So definitely the preferred way of voting in Cuyahoga County. Also, so with that, we had voters had requested 58,514 ballots, and so far we received about 40,000 ballots returned, which is a 68% return rate. So normally we hope to get about 85 to 90% return rate from voters. So we're hoping to get about 10,000 ballots in the next day or so. Just want to remind voters that if you still have your ballot on your kitchen table or whatever, to get it returned here to the board. Vote by mail ballots must be postmarked today, November 3rd. I would recommend voters just to go ahead and take it to the post office if they're mailing it back. We must receive it here at the board by Saturday. We also have available our 24/7 drop box that voters can drop off between now and 7:30 p.m. on election night. Or just also as a reminder, though, that you cannot take your vote by mail ballot to your polling location. Okay, and then also too, just the fact that vote by mail ballots are the first ones, the first results that are posted on election night. Early in-person voting, I guess I would characterize this, I'll break it into three sections: the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good was, even though vote by mail is down from 2021, early in-person voting at our new campus here was up. In 2021, we had 6,711 voters who came here to vote. And for this election cycle, we had 8,158 voters come here, which was a 20% increase from 2021. We heard a lot of great positive comments from voters, including how they liked the new building. They appreciated the increase in parking. They liked the bright, modern look inside the early vote center. On Sunday, we saw our largest lines. When we first opened, the peak time voters had at the most was about a 30-minute wait. But obviously, they were all able to be inside the building here, which is a great factor with it. But for most of the day, the wait line was no longer than 20 minutes or less. I'm also glad that this board did pass a revised campaign policy, which had a lot of good addressed a lot of issues. So for instance, yesterday I had a campaigner who came with a bullhorn and started broadcasting within the parking lot. And with it, I was able to instruct him that that is not permitted on Board of Elections grounds, and was able to deal with that quickly. As you also know, we have that campaign zone that was created. And when it was first started, we had bicycle racks around one portion of the parking lot with a large banner instructing voters if they wanted to get voter information that they could, campaign information that they could go to that area. We initially got pushback or feedback from the campaigners, and they had said that the bicycle racks made them feel confined. So we swapped those out for non-connecting orange barricades that set up kind of the boundaries a little looser. They also asked if we could add a second campaigning zone on the other side of the entrance. So we went ahead and did that. However, it went from good to bad. We ended up having campaigners started crowding the entrance. They were obstructing the path for voters and distracting voters as they were pulling in. We had complaints from voters that they were worried that they were going to hit somebody. So we will definitely be making some adjustments as we look towards the May primary, because it did not work. Myself and others had to repeatedly go out and address them and tell them to move back and off of that, but it became something that we realized that we cannot keep this going forward. It also went from bad to ugly, particularly with two candidates and their campaigns in particular. Two campaigns were the worst. They were verbally aggressive to each other. They filed police reports against each other. Cleveland police responded on 2 different days with behavioral complaints. Quite honestly, it's embarrassing that people who are running as judges cannot conduct themselves in a professional manner. You would think that people who are expected to uphold the rule of law would be able to follow some simple rules. For the entire weekend, we had to request and hire additional sheriff's deputies at taxpayer expense to be stationed in the parking lot to monitor their inappropriate behavior. As I said, we will definitely be making some modifications leading up to the May primary election. Okay, as far as Election Day preparations, the poll worker department have hired and trained 3,470 poll workers to work at our 271 locations in this election. They also hired an additional 100 standby workers who will be dispatched as needed. Last night, after early voting ended, the electronic poll books were updated with the names of all 8,156 early in-person voters. Election support came this morning, and they picked up those electronic poll books, and they will be delivered to the zone stations and then later dispatched to the polling locations. I want to remind voters that early in-person voting here at the Board of Elections ended on Sunday. There's no voting here today. For Tuesday, if voters, we recommend that all voters double check their polling location. You can go on our website and verify your polling location, or we also have an automated phone system that they can check, or also live operators here during business hours. On Tuesday, as a reminder, polls will open at 6:30 a.m. and close at 7:30 p.m. Voters must bring photo ID. Valid photo ID includes a driver's license or a state ID or an interim driver's license documents, passport or passport card, U.S. military ID, which includes dependent IDs, Ohio National Guard ID, or Department of Veteran Affairs ID. Also, we do have 2 locations that had polling location changes for this election. All those voters were sent letters back in September notifying them of the changes. One of them was in North Homestead. We came out of North Homestead Community Cabin due to construction. Those voters will be voting at John Knox Presbyterian Church. And in Maple Heights, those who had voted at Maple Heights Board of Education will be voting at Abraham Lincoln Elementary. So, but regardless of your municipality, and maybe those who in Cleveland who didn't vote in May, if they are going to be voting for the first time this election, again, go to our website, check your polling location, verify it, or you can call here through our 24/7 automated phone system, or call a live operator during voting hours. The ballot department is current with their absentee scanning. We will have technicians from Clear Ballot here to assist with any, to troubleshoot on election day. So overall, staff is prepared and we're ready for tomorrow, and we look forward to a great election day. I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
Thank you, Deputy Director Gallagher. Board members, any questions for our Deputy Director? All right, thank you. Sounds like we are ready for tomorrow. All right. If you'd allow me, Board, I have another piece of new business that I want to ask to our Director or Deputy Director as far as where we are with the county executive, and the county is moving our absentee mail operations from the garage, where we've had serious water infiltration, into this building to secure our equipment. And where are we on that?
Yeah, it was about maybe 8 weeks ago that we approached the board and we notified them of the issues that were occurring with our Agilus equipment and OPEX equipment, and just the need and necessity, as you said, to move those operations out of the garage into this location. We did meet with members of the county, with Public Works and County Executive's Office, and we had good collaboration and good conversations with it. We went back and forth and discussed potential options, and we did settle on two spaces that would be able to house all of the vote by mail equipment and be able to have space for our operators to perform their verification operations. Unfortunately, we haven't heard anything. I don't know. It's kind of gotten into a hang up. Yeah, it's been about
Excuse me, sir. So
Yeah.
we started this discussion 8 weeks ago, and we still have not heard anything back.
Yeah, we haven't gotten a final decision. That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, to build upon what Deputy Director Gallagher said, we have had some meetings and had good discussion with it, but the finality of it has not been made. And so we are hopeful that that happens soon, because quite honestly, time is of the essence, right? We are focusing on tomorrow's election, and we are focusing on March 20th, 2026, the opening of Cuyahoga for the May 5th election, because that's the way our minds work, and because we have to. And so in order to be able to prepare, you can't just move stuff midstream. And so really, there's only a few months left in order to make this happen, if it were to happen for the May primary, which really is ideal, because I think November of 2026 is going to be a huge election. And the Secretary himself last week brought something to our attention that I'm glad he did, and I wish he didn't. There's the potential for 6 statewide questions to appear on the November ballot. And this agency trying to figure out, with English and Spanish on the ballot, how the heck to administer that will be something. So it'd be nice to be able to figure out the logistics of the absentee in the spring primary, because we won't figure it all out, but we'll learn a lot of stuff and we can make some adjustments for November. It's nice to have that opportunity.
So, Mr. Pilati, if we have Cuyahoga opening on March 20th, as you said, for the primary in 26, then we would want to have this transition made, by the end of February or March 1st of 26?
Yeah, it'd be nice to come in March 1st, flip the light switch on, and everything's sitting there. And then the absentee department is working through the logistics of how does this stuff flow in this building. It'll flow. There'll be a good flow, but you have to create that flow. And I would say March 1st would be where we would want this to happen, because we have to bring the vendor in from out of state too, to tear down the machine, put it back together, and put it through its paces to ensure that it's working properly.
Board members?
Tony, could you refresh us, how much work, in addition to moving the equipment, has to occur for this to happen? Does the space need a lot of remodeling?
So there's two different spaces within the building that we would move into. One of the spaces would be where we would put our letter openers. We have 10 of those machines. That space there, most of the demolition has been done in the space. There's another wall, interior wall, non-load-bearing wall that would need to come down with a new one erected. So from a construction perspective, not a lot there. Basically, we'd have to get power. There's power in the space. The equipment that goes into that space is mostly power-driven and not a lot of data. So paint, flooring, tear down a wall, put another one up, that type of thing. So nothing that's too crazy because the hardest part of the demolition has been completed already. It was in a kitchen space where a lot of that stuff has been removed. The second space, a little bit of demolition needs to happen there. Some interior, I think 3 interior drywall walls. There is a brick wall that a portion of that would have to be removed, but again, everything is non-load bearing. And then that space would then need paint and flooring, and that room needs a little bit of data, just a handful of data outlets, but data outlets already exist in the space. So it's just a matter of getting those up and running. So I'm not a construction guy, but the spaces that we have are already, I think, a good part of the ways down the way to being ready for the construction versus the deconstruction demolition part.
Thank you.
Board members, any other questions? Okay. Well, we want to, again, as a board, emphasize that this is not an acrimonious relationship. You know, we've had a good relationship with the county executive and the county, and they've been good partners with us, but we absolutely have to figure this out and in this process and get our equipment in a safe, dry place. So we do want to say that. Also, I think to help expedite this, I'd like for us to draft a letter to the county executive indicating, you know, our expectations that we complete this in an expeditious fashion, that we're on a tight timeline, and that we really want to have this done by the end of February so that you can have your pieces in place to effectively execute the May primary election in 2026. And if the board doesn't have any objections, we'd like to do that. Ms. Stiggin?
Can we just also work in our next meeting, I think is the 17th, that maybe a response by then?
Microphone, Ms. Stiggin, thank you. Push the button.
Oh, hello. Our next meeting, I think is the 17th. Maybe we could put, that's 2 weeks. Could we have some kind of response by then, maybe for our next meeting? Put that in the letter?
Yes, we definitely will put that in the letter. I will invite Public Works Director Dever to potentially appear then at that meeting, I think.
Good idea.
So that way he can speak to that there. And I want to just echo what Chairman Curtis said. We've had a good, positive conversation with them, and I think we're right there. You know, it's that last piece to say, okay, it's go time. Just as a side, was last week on Wednesday that Secretary LaRose came. He wanted to see the new early vote center in action. Impressed, liked it. But one of the first comments out of his mouth when he came in is, "How we doing with that garage space?" So, because you know they are aware, and so I told him we're working on it. So it's also on his radar and a concern to him.
And also, I do want to echo that as well. We have had a good working relationship, but I think we have a good plan going forward. We just need to move it forward. Yeah.
Move it forward and finish it. Yeah, and get that equipment here. Board members, any other comments that you have for our director, deputy director? All right. Before we close, just want to thank you for your fine work, and we're ready for tomorrow. and we'll have another good election. And as I always say, Wednesday's coming. All right. There being no other business before us, I move to recess the meeting.
Second.
Second, all in favor, aye. Ayes have it. Have a great election. See you tomorrow.